Hello, I just watched the finale, the season finale of Bttr Call Saul, um, entitled Life, where Saul Saul got life um, in a couple of ways. Saul or Jimmy got life, maybe. It's interesting show. It was always one of those shows where did not know what was going to come next. I was fairly convinced by the end of the last episode where Rhea Seehorn goes back to Albuquerque. Kim, Rhea Seehorn being the um, actress who played Kim, the co-lead of this show with Bob Odenkirk, and comes clean, confesses, and puts it in the hands of Howard's wife if she wants to sue her and just you know take her for everything she wants in a civil case. And indeed, in this episode, you find out that's still very much on the table and might be by before the end of the show. Well, basically anything that Kim has and will make it in perpetuity if Howard's wife decides, widow decides, that would be it. That would be it. She's accepted the consequences for her acts. And there is the wonderful thing in this show, in this episode, where Saul's been nabbed. He's in the jail. He has bargained himself down from a consecutive life sentence down to 7 years in the prison of his own liking with a golf course. He says, "Oh, you'd put me in that Alcatraz of the Rockies if I let you." Get back to that later. Um, and he finds out that Kim has come clean, and then you think, wow, he's really gone kind of, for lack of a better word, kind of like Walter White, like bitter, and I'm going to make everybody pay kind of thing, and I'm going to flip on Kim. She only told you the surface. I'm going to tell you even more, and it's going to suck her down with me kind of thing. And you think, wow. But then he gets in the courtroom and it's showtime, and he flips. He flips on himself. He says, "No, I made that up about Kim because I just wanted her to be here." And he proceeds to confess to everything and saying, "No, no. When I got taken out to that desert and Walter White and Jesse threatened me, I saw, after being afraid for a little bit, I saw opportunity. This was the way I was going to make a lot of money. I enabled Walter White. I made sure, like, he would have been in prison, like, or dead outside of a month, and none of these people would have died. The two DEA agents, Walter's brother-in-law included, in that, wouldn't be dead if it hadn't been for me." And takes responsibility. And as a sidebar, he also says, and he confesses that he got his brother's malpractice insurance, Chuck's malpractice insurance, canceled. And right after that, without being able to practice law anymore, Chuck killed himself. And his lawyer, the guy he has as kind of his co-lead lawyer, says, like, "Why do you confess to the other thing? It's not even a crime." And he said, yeah, it was a crime. And yeah, he got life. And very much by mentioning, you got to think him knowing exactly what he was doing, mentioning the Alcatraz of the Rockies, that there indeed was where they were going to send him. He got two DEA agents killed. That is the kind of stuff that they will come down to you as hard as possible and try and devise as much terribleness as they can. And but he and Kim comes to him, and they seem to have a kind of relationship. Jimmy and Kim. Saul's gone, or at least beaten back as much as Saul can be beaten back. I mean, that's the wonderful thing with both Kim and Jimmy, is they both have these darker sides of themselves, and there's ways they can kind of harness them, but they're always there, and also all the consequences of what they've done, used their talents with. I mean, Jimmy gets his redemption using his swindling skills, using his being a shyster lawyer, being slippery, slipping Jimmy, being Better Call Saul. And I mean, yeah, in the prison, he's kind of respected as Better Call Saul. He's amongst his people. Ja was talking about how this is very much like the time machine, having read something, that the time machine is much more about class divisions, about the Morlocks and the Eloi, and he was very much the mailroom Jimmy, who got above himself and was kind of angry about that. And Kim and her hatred for Howard, who's a super nice guy, but was also somebody of that wealth, who kind of had Kim as kind of his charity project, and she fucking hated him for it. And that's a part of where kind of that anger comes from. That thing of, you look up at people who are, even when they're being super nice to you, you're very aware that they're above you in the social thing, and you are always going to be down here, and the kind of the irksomeness that one can feel about that. I remembered I went to a dinner party with a bunch of people who were very nice, but all kind of retired corporate people who had made far more money in their lives than I'm ever going to make as a support care worker. And they were super nice, but I could just feel that. And a little bit of that just kind of looking downness is like, oh, you feel it. It's there. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. And just that whole thing of, it's like, okay, was this too soft? Did Jimmy turn nice at the end? It's like, no, because he was still in it for himself, in the sense of, he's in it to get Kim back. There's a motive there, and in them leaning against that prison jail wall, and sharing a smoke. It's kind of like, that's what Jimmy realized in the end. It wasn't about money. You have a whole bunch of these flashbacks where it's like, oh, what could you change? And he was like, oh, it's money, or oh, I would hurt my knee. It's like, no, his regret is Kim. That's his regret. Can I time travel back and do that? And he can't time travel, but he can do something, and he does that thing. Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna just let this a wonderful show just kind of wash over me and just kind of percolate, because there's a lot to it. It's a really great drama that way. If nothing's answered, but it's really fully realized. They're really there, and you really believe these people as people, not just characters. They're people. Kim is a person. Jimmy, Saul, Gene, Victor, all the same person, but all his names are, that is one person. And all the minor characters, yeah, Chuck, Nacho, so many just wonderful, gloriously, Lalo, just wonderfully realized characters, brought to life by super talented actors, and filmed the shit out of, just cinematography wise, just consistently, again and again and again, such interesting and revealing shots of how they frame and picture people is always just so good. And Theo's always got to come in with his bark. And yes. So yeah. That is Better Call Saul. Really good. Really, 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 really good TV. All right. More videos later.